Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Ya Fattah, Ya Alim, iftah lana fathan qariba wa zidna ilma. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everybody, for Jazakumullah khairan for joining me in our second episode of Qur'an with Armaan. I hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode. This week's episode unfortunately isn't as well planned as last week. Unfortunately, my wife and my son had COVID last week. They're just about getting over it now, and unfortunately my mum and myself have it now. So apologies if this doesn't go as well as the first one did, and please make dua for us, for our shifa. May Allah give us all shifa, and all of you that are, have loved ones that are suffering as well. May Allah give you all shifa. And I would also like to implore your du'as for my father-in-law as well, who has just had a heart attack last night. He was operated on, and alhamdulillah he's now recovering, so may Allah give him a full recovery back to his full health, inshallah. Ameen. Okay, so today I wanted to go through a few things, but the main thing is why I started these episodes in particular. And I want to give a thanks to one of my teachers, and that's Professor Uthman. He really opened up my eyes to this concept, and there were a few different ayat that were mentioned, but one in particular opened my eyes. The second one showed me actually what to do, and then the third one that I'll do today is an example of that. So the first one I'm going to read is from Surah Al-Furqan. That's Surah number 25, ayah number 30. Okay, let's change this. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقال الرسول يا رب إن قوم اتخذوا هذا القرآن مهجورا. Okay. So this ayah is, the context of it is going to be said on the Day of Judgment. And the messenger, and the translation is, and the messenger has said, "O my Lord, indeed my people." Who are my people? If the messenger has just said, "Oh my Lord, indeed my people," who does he mean by my people? Comment below, come on. Who are my people? When the messenger says, "My people," who does he mean? When the messenger says, "My people," who does he mean? Come on, it can't be, it's not going to be the disbelievers, is it? Who's it going to be? It's going to be the Muslims at that time. Good. Okay, so not just at that time, in all time. So, indeed my people have taken, they've taken the Qur'an as a thing to be abandoned. And so this really hit me, because he's talking about the Muslims, and yet the Muslims are the ones that are abandoning the Qur'an. You'd usually think, okay, when he says my people have taken this Qur'an as a thing to be abandoned, we forget to mention the my people bit, but we focus so much on the people that have abandoned the Qur'an, and then we think we haven't abandoned the Qur'an, and that's how we quickly gloss over this ayah. But then when I stop to think about it, yes, I might be following the rules of the Qur'an. So for example, I might be praying 5 times a day, I might be fasting, I might be following this rule and that rule, and yes, I might pick it up every day to read the Qur'an, but have I abandoned it in everything else? And when I have a question in my life, do I go to the Qur'an and then try and find an answer? The only time I picked up the Qur'an was just to read it for my daily portion that I read. Other than that, I would rely on YouTube videos or other external books to tell me what the Qur'an actually told me. So I was always relying on someone else to tell me about what's written in the Qur'an. So after that, I realized, okay, I have to reconnect with the Qur'an. How do I do that? Then I thought, okay, there has to be a prophetic way. And then even that is mentioned in the Qur'an. So let's recite that. And this is Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 151. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم كما أرسلنا فيكم رسولا منكم يتلو عليكم آياتنا ويزكيكم ويعلمكم الكتاب والحكمة ويعلمكم ما لم تكونوا تعلمون. And just as we have sent among you a messenger from yourselves, reciting to you our verses and purifying you and teaching you the book and the wisdom, these 4 things, and teaching you that which you did not know. So these 4 things are the prophetic way to learn and teach the Qur'an. First, you must know how to recite it, and then purifying you, teaching you the book, and teaching you the wisdom. Okay? When people, every tafsir class that I've ever been to, they gloss over this so quickly. They think, okay, we're going to recite, that's easy enough, just take some tajweed courses, and then purifying you. When they talk about purifying you, people always mention, it's getting rid of the sins in your heart. They think of it more of a spiritual thing when it comes to purifying. And then teaching you the book, as in teaching you the Qur'an, and then teaching you the wisdom, and many people will translate the wisdom as being the Sunnah or the Hadith. So they'll kind of give you different understandings of what these words are, and these words are subjective. Nobody really said that the wisdom here definitely means the Sunnah. That's not a hard and fast rule. So make sure you guys not just focus on one way of just interpreting the Qur'an. Okay, so the way that I took a look at it, okay, first of all, reciting to you our verses, pretty simple enough. You do just have to read the verses. So whenever the Prophet ﷺ would teach people, he would read the verse to them. And then when it comes to purifying you, you have to find out how can you implement it in your own lives. Okay, and this is subjective and personal. This is only for you guys. So you got to figure that out yourself. Okay, so that is point number 2. When it comes to purifying, you have to find out how this ayah affects your life. Okay, and this is what I'm trying to do in these episodes. I'm trying to get you to connect back to what it means. Then teaching you the book. So make sure you understand what the ayah is trying to tell you. Obviously, you need to know what the ayah actually means. And then the wisdom is like a projection. The projection. So how are you going to implement it also in the future? Does it affect any of your future decisions that you plan to make? Okay, so what is wisdom? Wisdom is, it can be interpreted in many ways. In Arabic, it was knowing something and then acting upon it. So for example, you know that fire is harmful, and that's knowledge. But to not put your hand in the fire is the wisdom behind it. Okay, so that's kind of what wisdom is here, so that you know how to utilize it in the future as well. So I'm just going to go through an example ayah here. Okay, so I'm going to go through Surah Al-Baqarah verse 168 here. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الناس كلوا مما في الأرض حلالا طيبا ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين. So, I just recited Surah Al-Baqarah verse 168. O mankind, eat from whatever is on the earth that is lawful and good, halalan tayyiban, and do not follow the footsteps of shaitan, of Satan. Indeed, he is to you a clear enemy. Okay, what do you guys take away from this? So first of all, I've just recited the ayat to you, so we've fulfilled number one. Now we have to see how are we going to implement it in our lives. But then we also have to see what does the ayah mean. Okay, so let's quickly see what does the ayah mean. Eat whatever is on the earth lawful and good. Why did Allah mention lawful and good? Halalan tayyiban. Is there a difference? I'm asking you guys. This is the part for you guys to be interactive now, because this is our example and I want to take you through the steps into connecting with the Quran yourself as well. Okay, so please leave your comments. Please answer the questions as well. Eat from whatever is on the earth that is lawful and good. Halalan tayyiban. So lawful may not always be beneficial. Brilliant. Brilliant. So lawful and good. So you want to get a mixture of both what is lawful and what is good for you. Okay, so now we've understood that Allah is commanding us to eat what is lawful and good, not just what is lawful. Okay? How do we implement this in our lives now? So we've now gone over the recitation of it, and we've gone over teaching you what the ayah, the understanding of the ayah is. Now we have to think, how are we going to implement it in our lives? Okay? Can any of you think of any how you can find, any reason you can find to be able to eat lawful and good? How can you implement that? And this is subjective to you all. Okay? So for me, when I was younger, I'd have a lot of astaghfirullah, Coca-Cola. So much that I needed quite a few fillings. Okay? Then I realized, this got terrible amount of sugar in, and it was making me almost obese as well. Not just that, other things as well. So I cut that out. But you have to take it step by step. What is your step that you're going to take right now to implement? Is it going to be that this Ramadan is only going to be for iftar, you're going to have one type of fried food? You're going to choose samosas tonight. You're not going to have a whole platter of samosas, pakoras and everything, are you? I love a heart for a platter. That's great. Like for a platter. So what are you guys going to do? If you want to eat halal and tayyiban, if you want to eat what is lawful and good, how are you going to implement this in ayah into your life? Or are you going to be one of those who اتخذوا هذا القرآن محجورا? Are you going to be one of those who have taken this Qur'an as something as abandoned? Great idea. That is great. Instead of deep frying all your foods, move to something that's a bit more healthier, which is an air fryer. Yes, it might not be the best tayyiban, but it is definitely better. So that's one step closer. Try to follow the sunnah way of eating. Yes, that is a good template to use, but is that personal? Do you think that you could implement that in your life? Would you be sufficient with eating just dates and water for 3 months at least? That's why I'm saying you have to connect back to the Qur'an and then connect it to your own lives. Not to eat until I'm stuffed. So that's close. That's close to what I'm asking for. But there's a step before that. How do you know before you're stuffed? You have to make that step beforehand to find out before you get stuffed. Otherwise, you'll eat a little bit and then realize, I'm going to be hungry again in half an hour. Setting a goal and eliminating bad habits one by one. That's interesting. That is a long-term goal. What is your first step though? Small meals. That's a good shout as well. Is any of this making it halal and tayyiban? Has anyone thought about, next time I go to the shops, I'm going to look at the back of the item I want to buy, make sure it doesn't have any alcohol, make sure it doesn't have any gelatin. Okay, so I've made it halal. Do I also check how much the sugar content is? How much calories am I having? It depends what your goal is, of course. You might want lots of protein, you might want lots of carbohydrates if you're very active. But are you going to check whether it's tayyiban as well? So that's one other thing you can also do. Okay? And then, so that was how to implement it in your own lives. The thing is, from then on, you have to include wal hikmah, the final step. Wal hikmah is the final step, and that's the wisdom. How is it going to project on your future decisions? Is it going to play any part in your future decisions? Okay, so in the future, as you are buying that which is lawful and good, does everything that is not lawful and good, or maybe that which is lawful and bad, they will slowly disappear, won't they? So inshallah, if you can continue getting what is lawful and good, then what's lawful and bad will automatically disappear. But you have to make sure that your decisions are still impacted by this ayah. And that's what the hikmah part of this, of the ayah that I recited earlier was. Okay? So I'm glad you guys have started to think about, how am I going to implement it myself? And that's the main thing behind it. Because people can tell you loads of things and people can give you a template, but none of it will be good for you, because you know yourself best. And everyone can, and anyone can testify to this. If someone tells you, start losing weight, you never listen. But once you are self-motivated to do so, and you see the benefits from doing whatever method you do, and you stick to it, you will do it yourself. It's just like if I told you, if I never told you to wake up for Fajr, if I told you wake up for Fajr, you might not do it. If you sleep through Fajr, no problem. The Prophet ﷺ said, wake up and then pray it. Okay? But then, if you wake up for Fajr on time and then you pray it, especially if you pray it in the masjid, then you will feel the peace that you have in your heart, and you will feel more awake, you will feel more lively, you will feel more healthy at the same time as well, and not so lazy from waking up too late or in between sleep patterns. So once you see that benefit, then you will be more likely to continue it. And that's because it's to your own needs. Okay, that's the main thing that I want you to take away. And this is what we're going to continue throughout this series. Okay, so today we just did halalan tayyiban. Next week we'll cover another ayah and how we can implement it in our own lives. Okay, cool. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتوب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.